Hey everybody, I'm Carla.
And I'm Caesar.
Welcome back to another episode of Carla and Caesar's Modern Life.
Episode 29.
Hey.
Another great week here. How you been?
Good.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're getting ready for a crazy busy weekend. You want to talk about yours?
This weekend I'm going to Cabo for my friend Kathy's bachelorette.
Nice.
And I hadn't been planning on going to that. But then I happened to look at ticket prices this week for flights. And they went down. So I was able to join in on the last minute. They were able to accommodate me.
Nice.
So that's super exciting. Besides that, I did start an online writing course just for fun. It's called A Year of Writing to Uncover the Authentic Self. And it's just through this website, Daily Ohm. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I started it this week. So far, so good.
What kind of prompts are there? What does it make you write about?
The intro is a lot of what I've already been doing, like talking about like things that shadow stuff, basically, and like what happens if you don't get past like not being able to embrace your shadow, and just leading you up to like, this is what happens if you decide to live like an authentic life, and this is what happens if you decide not to. And so it's exploring some of that. So.
That's cool. That's cool.
And it's personal to you.
So it's all about yourself. That's cool. That's great. Yeah. So you're gonna go on this trip. You're gonna write. What else are you looking forward to?
Seeing my friends.
Yeah. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, they live in Seattle, so I don't get to see them all the time.
Okay. And then shout out to everybody that has been tuning in every week to this episode. If you haven't seen the episode or we played We're Not Really Strangers, that one's really fun. And yeah, so for me, I'm also gonna have a big weekend. I'm gonna go to a music festival in LA. I'm gonna see the Strokes and LCD Sound System, which is another one of the bands that I was like really wanting to see during the pandemic. So it's really gonna be exciting to like finally be able to see these bands.
Yeah.
And yeah, just trying to like, I've been trying to like grow the podcast business thing that I'm doing, and so far I've had a few clients, but it's still scary. Like, I think the anxiety I have now is just whether I'm gonna run out of money or not. And it's hard because it's like I'm good, like I'm where I want to be, but it's like not financially yet. And so I just wish that was the only thing. Like I wish that would just be solved, I guess. Like so then I could just keep doing what I'm doing. Yeah.
But I've seen you progress and stuff like with all of that. So yeah. I'm hoping that like you just keep like doing that, more of the same, and it'll keep paying off,
Yeah, I hope so. And I'm planning on it. I mean, that's the plan. Yeah, so at this point now, because of the podcast that I'm being paid to produce and the ones we're doing now, it's like 5 or 6 shows a week now that I'm working on. So this show, the Rodriguez show, and Saturday nights, and then 3 others that I'm like invested in making sure they're up every week. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And are you enjoying it? Are you having to adjust a lot now that you have so much more on your plate?
It feels better to have that stuff on my plate but then at the same time, like there's that pressure of like, well, I still want to apply to a part-time job. And so it feels good to be busy and have like a purpose to do everything. It's like something to do every day. And I don't know, like it feels like it's busy, but it's not like I'm like worried about it per se. Some days where like I left it till the last minute, and I need to build that rhythm for all the shows that I'm doing. And if I'm going to keep building and adding more shows, then I'm going to need to like, get used to the fact that I'm always going to have stuff to edit.
Right.
And so that's fine. Like I'm excited about that part, because I knew that even like sometimes it's hard to like muster up the energy to edit this show. But then I'm like, once I get into the rhythm and once I'm getting paid to do this, like it'll be so much easier to get into it. And I have, so
yeah. That's
yeah.
great.
It's not an ad for the podcast service thing, but now that we're mentioning it, if you want to,
well.
You can hit me up at I am Caesar Rod, and I can make it happen for you.
Yeah.
I can work with your budget, but I also have like a certain amount of money I need to make too. So, yeah. And so I'm looking forward. Honey. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend to get a little break from that.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to
We're both due for a break.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad you were able to jump on the last minute, like getting a flight.
Yeah, me too. Because I just felt like I needed to do something because I had the time off anyway.
Yeah.
So it was just a matter of like deciding like, okay, like I'm committing to this.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to this week, and I'm excited about like what's happening going forward. So this part of the show we usually would be the part where we go into the shadow work,
Right.
But we have been working on that, but it's like the discussion we don't have much to discuss because of the fact that it's still the same idea of like, I think the overall message of it so far has been like what you see in others that bothers you is what is about yourself, right? And so I mean we've talked about that already, and it's just about like actually instilling that in ourselves, so it's not like we can tell you again what we just did.
Right. Although I did have a new insight.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to like find things in other people that I don't like, because I feel like I usually just find the positive, or I try to find the positive in people. The way I've started to switch it in order to like dig deeper, I guess, or just a new way for me to like discover what I've suppressed, is like seeing at the things that I do like about myself and deciding what the opposite of that is for me, and then digging into that as opposed to like, oh, like this person pisses me off, because I feel like it takes a lot to make me mad anyway. So it's
yeah, and it's also like as an adult, I mean, unless but you have it too. Like you have a job where you interact with different people all the time, so you could easily find somebody. But at the same time, as you get older, it's harder for us to get triggered by people like that.
Yeah,
like you have a little more patience as you get older. So
right.
It's not as easy to be like, oh, this person triggers me, so right away, you know.
Yeah, right. So that's cool to know that I have that other way of thinking about it going into the rest of the book.
Yeah. And I mean, we're like halfway through, kind of, right? Like,
I don't even know.
In terms of the audio recording, because I'm listening to an Audible, like it's like 3 hours in out of 6. So.
Oh yeah.
So we're working through it, and I mean, like I said last week, it does make a difference.
It really does, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking like you never know. In terms of like the work that you're trying to do full time, I feel like uncovering something might help you with that too, you know?
That's true. Yeah. So we'll update you guys more on the shadow work that we're doing on the next episode. Right now it's time for the scenarios, right?
Let's do it. So the first one says, am I the asshole for asking my mother to stay in a nearby hotel when she comes to help us with our newborn? So I, a 35-year-old male, and my wife Janet are expecting our first baby in January. Important information. I live in a different country from where I grew up, and my wife and I recently moved cities, so we don't have much in the way of a support network. My mother has offered to come stay with us for a month after the baby comes to help us. My mom is a night owl and stays up late so she can help us try to get some sleep. I really appreciate this idea and I'm supportive, but I also want my wife to be able to dictate the dynamic and the rhythm of everything. Our apartment is small with 2 bedrooms, one for us and one for the baby. My mother wants to sleep in the baby's room on the pull-out sofa we have there. I think that this is all going to be too much all at once, and I asked my mother if she wouldn't mind staying in a long stay hotel room that would be maximum 5 to 10 minutes walking from our apartment. My father and I would split the cost of this. My mom wouldn't have to pay for this. My mother got extremely offended at this request, saying, well, it sounds like you don't need any help with the baby after all. And, oh, so your wife must really just not like me, huh? I also overheard her say to someone else that this was a pretty big slap in the face. To be clear, my wife hasn't really said anything about this, and we are just formulating the plan. It's my idea that my mom should have her own space so everyone can have some intermittent privacy, but maybe I am underappreciating what she is doing for us. So am I the jerk?
Oh, dang. I don't know. That's a tough one. Because it wasn't like the wife's idea. It was his idea, right? To put her in the hotel room.
Right. But the mom maybe might have had that might have been like something she'd already thought was a possibility, that maybe her daughter-in-law didn't like her, but it was the son's idea.
Yeah.
And I feel like for good reason, like he just said like maybe because she happened to offer, they didn't ask her.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he's thinking, well, let me first like do what they're doing, which is come up with a plan. And that's just an option. So she can say yes or no. And then like they can go from there. But they have to also like have some sort of say in it.
So yeah, so if she's offering to do it and they need the help, then why put her somewhere else? Like it's not like she's gonna be sleeping in the room with them. Like I feel like he is a jerk because it's like why? Like if you don't want her to stay, then don't have her stay. Don't have her come over then. But if you want somebody to stay to help you out for a month, like isn't that like wouldn't that be helpful? Especially if she stayed in the kid's room and it's like, oh well, why are you depriving me from the experience of waking up in the middle of the night? Well then why do you need help then if you're so precious about the idea of like, oh, I want to help and take care of my kid. Like if they're saying that they don't have any help and then they offered help, but then they pushed help away, then what is it? What do you really want? You just want a robot that'll take care of your kid when you don't feel like it? Like, you know?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know. I feel like that's a good setup because she's not going to be far. Like she maybe doesn't feel the need to have like as many boundaries as they do. But I feel like that would be like a great deal because he said the place would have a kitchenette, and so it would feel I feel like it could be like a nice staycation because or vacation because they don't live in the same city.
Yeah.
And she can have her own space and then go see her grandbaby as much as she wants to. I feel like it's not even a bad deal. Like, and she doesn't have to pay for it. So why not just like, why take it personally?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like you can look at it the other way too. Like, I'm going to go spend a month to help you with your kid and you want to put me somewhere not at your house. Like I have a place that I stay at already. I'd rather be home. Like, wouldn't you rather be home and then take care of the kid or like one or the other, right? Like, don't put me in the middle don't put me in a fucking residence inn for a week, for a month. Like, I was there to be with you or I go back to my house, you know? Like, that's where it's like, I
don't know. Because I think of it like people have their routines. Like,
this is like outside the routine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's necessarily bad, but it's also like I get why she's like, well, what the heck? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
This is a good one because it's like we usually always like agree.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that if you're gonna have a kid and you want help, then take the help. And like, I'd rather imagine not like if you're struggling with going to sleep and then somebody's sleeping there that you trust with your kid, so they can like help them go back to sleep. Like what? Because what else do you need help with? Like that's the biggest. I mean, that's the biggest thing I would say. And then I guess there's so many other aspects of taking care of a kid. But
yeah, I have the feeling that they must not be super close. So. So I think that's why they thought it was okay to suggest this. That's the feeling that I get. Like maybe they don't want to spend that much time with her. And she,
well then just say no. Just say don't come over.
I guess, yeah, that's one thing to do.
Yeah. And then to be clear, my wife hasn't said anything. So she's like, she doesn't even like, she might even correct him and be like, well, why not just have her stay with us?
True.
Because it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like she wouldn't have to pay for it, but I mean, it's still
he talked to his dad about it though, because they're splitting the cost. So maybe the dad was like,
get her out of here.
Maybe.
Yeah, this is we'll just
I don't know.
I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
I'd be stoked
to have the help or to have a month long hotel.
Both.
So yeah, that one that we'll leave it inconclusive.
Yeah. All right, next one.
Am I the asshole for telling my stepmom her food tastes like shit?
Oh shit.
I'm 16 years old. I live with my dad 30% of the time and my mom 70% of the time. I'm with my dad right now. My stepmom is not a good cook. She personally doesn't like very adventurous foods, so she cooks very boring, unseasoned foods. Sometimes overcooked, undercooked, too hard, too soft, not fresh, unseasoned, that kind of thing. I eat a lot of snacks at their house, which annoys her because then I don't eat as much of what she makes, but that's intentional. At my mom and stepdad's, the food is a lot better. My stepmom complained again that I wasn't eating enough of her food on my plate. I said I wasn't hungry and she said, well, you never are, suggested I had an eating disorder because I had overeaten earlier with snacks and now was picking at my dinner again. I said I didn't have an eating disorder, I just didn't want to eat what she made, and she was like, why not? It's polite. And I said, because it tastes like shit.
Damn.
She got upset and my dad yelled at me and sent me away from the table and said I had to eat her food whether I liked it or not.
Oh no.
So, yeah. So I think...
everyone's an asshole.
Well, I don't know. Like I'm on his side.
Yeah, well,
He didn't have to say it like that.
he didn't have to say it like that, but he had to say, like, I just don't enjoy your food somehow.
Yeah.
And also, like, why are you... Yes, yeah, so I agree. But also, I feel like the other people are assholes too for trying to force him to eat food he doesn't enjoy.
No, so he's not the asshole then.
No.
Because he had to say it in a certain way. But I mean, that's like a 16-year-old not going to be able to have tact, I guess. And just say, I don't like eating your food. And it's true. It's like maybe they should have a little bit of self-awareness to be like, oh, why isn't he eating this food? Does it taste like shit? Maybe it does.
Exactly. Yeah. And to assume or suggest that someone has an eating disorder when you're probably not that close to them. Like if they couldn't even tell the stepmom that they didn't like their food, they're probably not super close. And so therefore to like try to bring up an eating disorder as a way to like, I don't know, maybe I think like that's another dick move of the parents.
That's true.
Because that's not the way to talk about something like that, you know?
Yeah.
If you're actually concerned.
Yeah, they were just like trying to like get a reaction, I think. Like,
yeah, I think so too.
Eating disorder.
Right.
And that's weird. Like that's mean.
That's really mean, yeah.
And
so
and it must be tough to be.
You can't blame them for reacting the way they did.
Yeah, and it's hard to navigate, being with two different sets of parents, I'm sure.
True.
And having to communicate with both of them.
Mm-hmm. Dang, that sucks.
Yeah. So not the asshole.
Not the asshole.
Are you gonna do the last one?
Mm-hmm. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my ex's girlfriend come to our daughter's birthday? Usually, birthday parties are held at my ex's parents' home, but for our son's birthday, my ex wouldn't let my now ex-boyfriend come to the party and use the fact that it's his parents' house and that it would look bad on his family if his legal wife was bringing another man around all of their friends and associates. I decided then and there that all of our children's future birthday parties would be at my home. The party is going to be a lot smaller than normal, so the guest list is only close family and friends. I made it clear to my ex he couldn't bring a +1. I don't like his girlfriend because she was awful to me when we were together, and that hasn't changed much. He laughed at me when I told him, but she called me and asked if she could be there. I told her no repeatedly, and she got angrier the more I refused. Now she's complaining to my ex and to all of his family about how I'm excluding her from her future stepdaughter's birthday. Am I the jerk?
Well, I mean, something that stood out right away was the fact that these people are not separated legally. Mm-hmm. So it's like, maybe undo that part first. because it's like, I get what you're saying. Like, this is petty back and forth. Mm-hmm. But it's also like, maybe get separated officially and then you both
don't have to do all this.
You don't have to be so awkward around your family. People get divorced legally. And the fact that people already know you're separated because you already have other spouses, what difference does it make?
Right. It's so true.
And then, so it's like, you are the asshole, but it's not like they're not asshole. Like, this whole situation's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess I just have to say, like it sucks for the kids too, because they're the ones that have to like internalize all this too, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that, what would you do? Would you let the ex bring his girlfriend?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but I get the reasons why the writer wouldn't, because I guess she wasn't nice to her when they first met. Right. But it's like, that's why it sucks too. It's like, if you're this person in this situation, like, you have to realize, like, everybody has to be a bigger person and just let you be happy in your relationship and and your ex be happy in their relationship. Yeah. Because if not, then why are you separated if there's real feelings there or whatever?
Right. Like, why continue the pettiness? Like, you stopped doing the parties at this house because you wanted to not have to worry about that. So it's like, now that you're doing like your own party, like, wouldn't you consider, like, let me try to be the bigger person and let everybody who wants to come because, like, I'm trying to be, I mean, I would imagine I'm trying to set a better example, or, you know?
And that's why she was saying, like, it felt bad to be excluded, to exclude her boyfriend because of the fact that the guy didn't want that to be the appearance. But it's like, but then you don't get to turn the tables and ask if you're a jerk.
Why do you keep continuing? Yeah. Exactly.
You know how it felt.
Exactly. Yeah, so you are the jerk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one, at first I was like, no, but now I'm like, yeah, you are.
Yeah,
You're continuing it.
Just a pattern of like, and you're putting your families in between this drama that, and it's like, who knows how long you're gonna last with these girlfriends and boyfriends. Like, I get why like maybe
there would be hesitation
to like include them with your kid, but it's like, that's why you need. It's such a sensitive issue when people separate and then they introduce people and then maybe those people are not around for a long time. Like, that's fucked up. So,
yeah. Yeah, and like especially if your kids are young too, they make adults can make a big impression like on the rehearsal.
Like we were watching the rehearsal, even a couple weeks of like, oh, this person's around in my life. Like they'll never forget that.
Exactly.
Or because they're in that when they're younger, like all that stuff is like it creates like the impact. It has a big impact because it creates like what you think of later on in the future.
Core memories.
Yeah. And if you, I mean, just because we've been doing the work, we know that, but it's true. Like you need to be careful around your kids.
Yeah. So everybody makes an impression, good or bad. Like, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that was the scenarios. Are you done? You be done with that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Like this video, comment what you think. We're still, we're working on reactions and food reviews. So if you want us to do any of those, like, leave us a comment. And where can they follow you online?
On Instagram at CarlelaRod89 and on Plant Parenthood OC to talk about plants. And then on TikTok, Carlela Rod.
Nice. And you can go to I Am Caesar Rod on Twitter and Instagram, and that's where you can find links to all the other things that I do, like the Rodriguez Show. If you want me to produce your podcast, you just hit me up there, and then the Saturday night show as well. All the information is at I Am Caesar Rod, and that's it.
Yeah. We'll see you next time to talk about more shadow work and to talk about our weekends.
Yes. Remember to take care of yourself and each other.
Thanks for watching. Bye.